Fuck Boomer Argent. Okay, sorry for that boomer moment. I don't know, for whatever reason, OBS deselected my... it deselected my mic. I don't know why, but it doesn't matter. Anyways, so we're not going to go through SNC-Lavalin again because I've already talked about it and I don't want to talk about it again. But we're going to endure Justin Trudeau's not apology. And this is a dude who apologizes for literally everything. Actually, the irony is he was going to Nunavut to apologize to the Inuit. So he was on his way to make an apology when he refused to make an apology. So, yeah, this isn't going to be very long. We're just going to watch this and I'm just going to freak out. Oh, why is this muted? Why is this muted by default?
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us at this early morning press conference.
Fuck me, I'm going to have to sit through this guy for 11 minutes. There's a word that starts with F that I wish I could say, but YouTube would take my channel down.
As you know, I have to be in Iqaluit in a few hours. I know you've all been wanting to hear from me directly on the SNC-Lavalin issue. I've taken time to review the testimony, to reflect on what has happened over the past months, and on what our next steps should be.
Why does he have such a, like, crazy lisp? I don't know.
Je tiens à faire le point sur ce qui me concerne à la suite des témoignages entendus.
Can't even give me subtitles?
Je me suis entretenu avec Jody Wilson-Raybould et le greffier du conseil privé le 17 septembre dernier. Durant cette rencontre, j'ai soulevé le dossier de...
Okay. What? Like, seriously? No bullshit. What are the odds that this dude is Fidel Castro's son? Just, like, realistically, what is the probability? I'd say, like, 20%, which is really high for a conspiracy theory.
SNC-Lavalin. Et comme vous l'avez entendu, j'ai réaffirmé que la décision revenait à la procureure générale.
Was up to the Attorney General.
Oui. J'ai mentionné
yes,
que j'étais le
I
député
did
de
mention
Papineau.
that I was the member of parliament for Papineau, and I have the great honor of representing Papineau for some 10 years now. And I take to heart the interests of the families, the workers, and the students who live in my riding. But that comment was not of a partisan nature.
It is our job as parliamentarians to defend the interests of the communities we were elected.
Okay, another kind of trivia question. How tall do people think Justin Trudeau is? I'm kind of interested to see how tall he is.
Elected to represent, to be the voice of those communities in Ottawa. I stressed the importance of protecting Canadian jobs and reiterated that this issue was one of significant national importance. Ms. Wilson-Raybould left that meeting saying that she would speak with her deputy minister and the clerk about this matter, but that the decision was hers alone. In the months that followed that meeting...
Okay, Justin Trudeau is 6'2". Justin Trudeau is 6'2". Andrew Scheer is 6'4". Andrew Scheer's really tall. So what happens... Okay, so people are asking about this because I've never seen speeches in Canada. So there's this cringe thing we do in Canada where half the speech is in English and half the speech is in French. But they don't repeat it. So it's literally just like... If you want to get all the quality content, you have to listen to both. Like, sometimes it's them repeating and sometimes it's they say different things in both languages.
I asked my staff to follow up regarding Ms. Wilson-Raybould's final decision. I realize now that, in addition, I should have done so personally, given the importance of this issue and the jobs that were on the line. In recent days, I have reviewed the testimony from the Justice Committee, including that given by Ms. Wilson-Raybould, Gerald Butts, the Clerk of the Privy Council, and the Deputy Minister of Justice and Deputy Attorney General, recalling various interactions.
There's a word that starts with F that I'd like to be saying, but I can't say because it'll get my channel shut down. But I think you can guess what it is.
Each of these interactions was a conversation among colleagues about how to tackle a challenging issue. Each came at a time when my staff...
There's only, I think, 2 bilingual provinces. Ontario's bilingual and New Brunswick is bilingual. Quebec is monolingual French, and the rest of Canada is monolingual English.
And I believed that the former Minister of Justice and Attorney General was open to considering other aspects of the public interest. However, I now understand that she saw it differently. What has become clear through the various testimonies is that over the past months, there was an erosion of trust between my office, and specifically my former principal.
So, like, people have been making songs about this. There's, like, techno remixes and stuff of erosion of trust.
Secretary and the former Minister of Justice and Attorney General. I was not aware of that erosion of trust. As Prime Minister and leader of the federal ministry, I should have been. Après plusieurs témoignages, ce qui est devenu clair, c'est qu'au cours des derniers mois, la confiance s'est érodée.
There's been an erosion of trust between my office, more specifically my former principal secretary, and the former Minister of Justice and Attorney General. I was not aware of that erosion of trust. And as Prime Minister and leader of the federal ministry, I should have been.
Many people have been sharing their advice, perspectives, and experience with me over these past weeks. What is clear is that there are many different styles of and approaches to leadership. There's one theory that the most effective leaders are adversarial and almost tough to a fault. That's not what I believe.
No,
I believe that real leadership is about listening, learning, and compassion.
Shut up! Shut the fuck up! Oh my God.
It's about the push and pull of robust discourse and honest debate. It's about transparency and accountability. One of the things central to my leadership is fostering an environment where my ministers, caucus, and staff feel comfortable coming to me when they have concerns. Indeed, I expect them to do so. In Ms. Wilson-Raybould's case, she did not come to me, and I wish she had. Because if it's a real relationship, and if we truly are a team, we can always acknowledge when we need to make adjustments. Things won't always be perfect, but there should remain a constant level of openness and dialogue. And that dialogue is crucial on a file as important as justice.
Oh my God. Oh, this is worse than I thought it was going to be. So I love how he's throwing her under. You know what? In a kind of a weird way, I almost kind of respect him for this, for throwing her under the bus and not being a pussy for once in his career. This is like the only time I've ever seen him kind of stand up for himself. So I kind of respect him for this.
You know, I won't surprise anyone when I say that my father and I had different leadership styles. But I can also tell you that amongst the files that were dearest to him, and to me as well, the justice file stood out.
It is something that I was immensely pleased to discover, that the new Prime Minister's office in the West Block was an office that was occupied by my father when he was Minister of Justice. And throughout his career, he was dedicated to that principle.
When was Castro a cabinet minister in Canada? It's a good question. I think we need to investigate this. I knew Canada was cucked, but letting Castro lead the country, that's worse than I thought. But yeah, this is painful.
Of justice, the just society, the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, and his approach of justice and fairness infused everything he did, and certainly.
What does this have to do with anything? We get it. Dumb people like your father.
It was something that he raised me with. So as I look at the different
he raised me with.
Different departments and responsibilities.
Does anyone else like feel the way that like this dude talks is kind of homoerotic?
Abilities and things that a government must do. The justice file has always been one that has been of particular importance and interest to me.
It's something that has always been close to my heart, something that I've always been very, very interested in, and the work that we've done over the past few years on justice issues.
You know what this dude's career was? This dude's career was a part-time substitute drama teacher. That's what he did for a living before politics. He was also a ski instructor.
It was always very important to me. Issues such as reconciliation, such as
being a cock,
medical assistance in dying,
being a massive cock,
such as cannabis and associated pardons.
Yeah.
Those principles of justice are fundamental for me in what we are as a country, what we want to be as a society. And I've spent my entire political career fighting for justice and for people. The issues of social justice, protecting Canadian jobs. Since I first went into politics, I've always worked to serve, to the best of my ability, the people I represent. The SNC-Lavalin file was not an exception.
Okay, we're going to take a break from this for some other cringe, because we
came here today to ask you to also look into the policies that religious charitable organizations have in our legislation so that it can also be changed, because maternal love is the love that's going to change the future of mankind. So we'd like you to look
we like to say people kind, not necessarily mankind, because it's more inclusive.
There we go, exactly. Yes, thank you.
We can all learn from each other.
We came here today.
Okay, that is just a Trudeau mansplaining. What was it again? What was the other cringy one? Okay, here we go. This is when Justin Trudeau, okay, this is
you in the red cap. Oh, is that the red cap? I think it is. Okay.
What a fucking
be nice.
Fig.
Diversity of views. Go ahead, sir.
What a smug
cunt. Thank you for
cunt.
coming in the first place. You know, I didn't think, you know, it's a little heckling out here, so appreciate you coming. I just want to know how your stance on ISIS is going to help Canadians in any way. I need to know how you're going to protect future Canadians, like my young daughter, and 10, 15, 20 years from now, when you're letting people in with an ideology that just does not conform to what we're doing here. So, I'd really like to know what your take on things.
Absolutely. No, I think that's...
So this is the dudes asking him, why are you letting members of ISIS come to this country without, like, punishing them? Why are we allowing people who have pictures of the ISIS flag on Facebook immigrate here?
Gives me an opportunity to talk about first of all, the fact that one of the reasons Canada is successful as a country is because we have been open to people fleeing persecution, fleeing war zones, looking for a better life for themselves and their kids. That's been the story of this country from...
Members of ISIS are fleeing persecution, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, he said that. Like, am I, like, misrepresenting him? The guy asked about members of ISIS coming back to the country, and this is his response.
The time the first European settlers came to be received by Indigenous people, people were fleeing conflict, poverty, difficult situations, and came to Canada to build a better life for themselves. And successive waves of people have in every different time, and every different wave. And when we welcomed in waves of...
Look, it even says it. It even says on the fucking... like thing.
Refugees, whether it was the Ismaili refugees in the early 70s, whether it was the Vietnamese boat people in the early 80s, whether it was people fleeing the devastation of the Second World War from Southern Europe in the 50s and 60s, the Italian communities, the Greek communities, the Portuguese communities.
You hear that, ladies and gentlemen? If you're Italian or Greek or Portuguese, you're the same thing as a member of ISIS.
Communities and others. Our country is so much the better for it. And there is a sense at one point that, okay, maybe now that's enough. Maybe we have just about all the diversity we can handle and we shouldn't have any more. Well, I can tell you, when Italian families settled in Montreal in the post-war years, they
like, I'm asking chat, am I lying? Am I exaggerating? Am I misrepresenting what this dude is saying? The guy asked, why are you letting members of ISIS immigrate to this country? And this is his response. Now, the explanation I've heard from his supporters is he just ignored the person's question and used it as an opportunity to ramble on about something else. And I don't see how that really makes it better.
Faced terrible discrimination, and people who pushed back at them and said, no, you don't belong here, you don't speak English or French.
Discrimination against members of ISIS.
Every wave of immigration has faced pushback because of how they dressed or how they sounded or what their belief was, what their religion was. And every wave of
Salafism?
Immigration has led to Canada being a better, stronger, more resilient, richer country. And that, I know, is not changing. When we welcome 40,000 Syrian refugees fleeing war-torn areas,
they want to bring 40,000 fucking members of ISIS to Canada?
Looking for a better life, it wasn't my idea. It wasn't my choice to do that. I didn't bring them over. Canadians brought them over. People opened up their homes. Cities like Edmonton showed themselves to be tremendously generous. Provinces stepped up. Community groups, church groups stepped up. There was a welcoming of people because there was a recognition that, yes, these people were fleeing.
Why do you think I hate the Catholic Church in Canada so much? They are such fucking cucks. They refuse to fucking excommunicate this piece of shit. This fucking guy, Justin Trudeau, calls himself a devout Catholic, and he banned cabinet ministers. He banned Liberal MPs from running if they don't 100% support abortion, including post-birth abortion.
ISIS, trying to get away from terrorism, trying to build a better life for their kids, and that is the story of this country. Obviously, as an open and safe country, we have to make sure that we are taking security very seriously.
No, but
and the security checks that were gone through before people came here, the way they are.
No, but dude, you can't walk it back. You just said we need to let members of ISIS
followed up on, if necessary, in certain cases. The way we ensure that we are keeping our communities safe happens not through building walls or thickening borders, metaphorically. It happens through engaging and giving people pathways to success. It comes through integration and language training and skills training. It comes through...
Teach them how to make bombs better. Teach them how to behead people better.
Our wonderful high schools and public education that allows for kids of all different backgrounds to learn from each other, to grow together, and to work together to build stronger communities. That has been the story of Canada. And it is not one that is in contrast with creating a safer community for your daughter, for our neighbors, for anyone. The safety actually comes.
I love the title.
Communities that are resilient and diverse and that talk to each other and understand each other and look out for each other and are welcoming towards each other. That is how you build a
He is the single most radical politician
and that
I've ever
is
seen.
Something that I know because I have seen it generation after generation all across Canada. So thank you very much for your question.
Fucking NPCs. I don't know. I think there's still room in hell for all the people who clapped. Okay, let's look at the comments. The comments I remember in this video are fucking gold. Is this the one where he insults Italians by comparing them to ISIS? Good lord. Italians brought the Mafia series. Oh, here we go. We got some edgy people. 90% are on welfare. Who, by the way, okay, let's see here. Italians are hardworking people. Have you seen any Italians committing terrorist actions? No. Our country will be so much better for it. ISIS aren't normal. They're freaking terrorists. I think the guy in question was actually a Canadian veteran. He didn't ask about refugees or immigrants. He asked about ISIS for being allowed to return to Canada. Let's see here. It's such a... Here we go. Here's some more cringe.
Your cabinet, you said, looks a lot like Canada. And I understand one of the priorities for you was to have a cabinet that was gender balanced. Why was that so important to you?
Because it's 2015. Canadians elected extraordinary members of Parliament.
Okay, let's get back to this. Let's get back to this fucking...
SNC-Lavalin is a company that employs 9,000 Canadians across this country. They create many thousand spin-off jobs in peripheral industries. They directly or indirectly put food on the table for countless families. You
guys know I hate this man more than, like, pretty much anyone. It actually disappointed me when he made that comment. Like, when he gave that thing about the Italians. He somehow disappointed me, who despises him.
As one of Canada's major employers. But they are also a company facing serious criminal charges. The context is a tough one, with potential job losses in the thousands. These are the types of situations that make governing a challenge. And when there's an erosion of trust within the people...
You know what else is funny? Some allegations came out that Trudeau had groped women in the past, and I was like, I thought he was gay. I almost kind of respect him a bit more now.
Involved, it further complicates what is already a difficult decision.
I didn't think he'd have the balls to do that.
Decision for the Attorney General. This has been a tough few weeks. Canadians expect and deserve to have faith in their institutions and the people who act within them. Almost every day as Prime Minister, I learn new things. So I can tell you without a doubt that I have taken and will continue to take many lessons from these recent days and weeks.
We're going to be soliciting advice from outside experts on a number of files related to the issues that have been raised over the past few weeks, including the twin roles of the Minister of Justice and Attorney General, as well as operational policies and practices of Cabinet, the civil service, and political staff on legal issues and more broadly.
Going forward, we will be seeking external expert opinions on a number of things as they relate to the set of issues raised over the past few weeks. This includes the dual role of the Minister of Justice and the Attorney General, as well as the operating policies and practices across Cabinet, the public service, and political staff as they relate specifically to judicial matters, but also more general. Ultimately, I believe our government will be stronger for having wrestled with these issues. This morning, I'm headed north to Iqaluit to deliver an official apology for the federal government's management of tuberculosis in the north in the 1940s to 1960s and the harms this created in Inuit communities. This is an important day, and this apology will be another defining moment along the road to reconciliation. Our government has said from the very beginning that there is no relationship more important to us than the one we share with Indigenous peoples. That remains true, and we will work hard to advance reconciliation each and every day. On Friday, I'll be in Toronto, marking International Women's Day with incredible young leaders. I plan to listen and learn from their lived experiences as we talk about how we can work together to deliver true gender equality in this country and around the world. Et la semaine prochaine,
next week,
et toutes les autres semaines.
You know what's funny? Harper issued a couple apologies and they ruthlessly mocked him for it.
Qui suivront.
Every other week thereafter, my government and our Liberal team will focus on the mission that voters entrusted to us, building a strong economy, attract better jobs, and create better opportunities for Canadians in the middle class. After all, that's what we're here for.
Okay, so we're gonna have a little test. Which was worse, this or this? This is literally the worst press conference I've ever seen in my entire life. This was when Patrick Brown got accused of sexual misconduct, and then eventually what wound up happening was he resigned, and then Base Dougie became premier.
Ladies and gentlemen, a couple hours ago, I learned about troubling allegations about my conduct and character, and I'm here tonight to address them. First, I want to say these allegations are false, categorically untrue, every one of them. I will defend myself as hard as I can with all means at my disposal. It's never okay for anyone to feel they've been a victim of sexual harassment or feel threatened in any way. Let me make this clear. A safe and respectful society is what we expect and deserve. And no one appreciates that more than I do. I've got two younger sisters who are my best friends. I've grown up in a family that has taught me good values. My values and beliefs are those that we need to move forward to eradicate sexual violence and harassment across the province, across the country, everywhere. I know the court of public opinion moves fast. I've instructed my attorneys to ensure that these allegations are addressed where they should be in the court of law. In short, I reject these accusations in the strongest possible terms. It's not my values, it's not how I raised, it's not who I am.
Okay, so that was pretty bad too. I'm trying to think, was there any other Justin Trudeau quotes that videos I should look at? He is the worst. He is by far the worst. I think I have a little bass in my voice. I think I have a little bit. More than that guy. Let me see here. Well, I think that's all I have to say. I'll just keep the stream short. So there we go. We had Justin Trudeau's non-apology, and yeah, I just ruined your women. Or your evening, not your women, your evening. Anyways, God bless you guys.